Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That Tom Clancy Show. Needless to say, I am your wonderful robot host, Mr. That Tom Clancy. I just want to give you all a bit of a warning right now. Uh, Apparently, Mother Nature hates the Midwest right now, and some storms are supposed to be coming through the area. So if the show suddenly cuts out, it's because of that. It's not for any other crazy reason. Um, Additionally, the other day, I think it was actually yesterday, I reached out to you all in the audience and I asked you what kind of shows you would like to see me implement in the future. We got a lot of pretty good feedback. The best, though, was from Mr. Paul Conway, who won for his comment on, elbows. Touche, Paul. You win this round. Look, the elbows it's a soft spot for me. I miss them. They'll come around again someday. I'll have some elbows. Magic 2K4, thanks for stopping in. Good to see you again. Yeah. So today's actually going to be a pretty cool show because my guest today is the first actor that I've had on the show, or really I should say professional actor because I'm an actor. He's probably best known for his work as Nick Rye in Far Cry 5, but he's also had the honor of working with several actors and directors that I hold in high esteem. People like John Rhys-Davies, Danny Glover, and of course, Mr. Yui Bowl. Bits and Pixels, please welcome Steve Byers. Hi, Steve.
Hey,
How's it going?
going great. How you doing?
So far, so good. The elbow comment did really sting, though.
Yeah, it's lost on me. You're gonna have to help me out.
Well, in putting together my digital self, I was unable to figure out my elbows. So I got my torso, I got my head, I've got my hands, and they kind of even move a little.
But you're elbowless.
But I'm elbowless. So people have no idea how my arms are actually being portrayed because they just have my hands to go off of.
I mean, unless you suddenly get into MMA or, Thai boxing, I don't think you need elbows anyway.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's hot and just hanging in there, in these uncertain times.
God, I swear, if I hear another person say that,
Honestly.
no,
I'll tell you, they've had a lot of us doing radio commercials at home, in our home studios and stuff. And there hasn't been a single one that hasn't come out that said, in these uncertain times, or what's the other one that I hate? There's another one that they use all the time. You've heard it probably a billion times.
I've heard them all, and I just, yeah. What I started saying when all of the whole COVID thing started was, I wish that I could go back in time to meet the person who coined the phrase, "May you live in interesting times," and punch them in the throat. Yeah, exactly, and just be like, no,
bad.
like that is clearly a curse.
Yeah,
It is.
Eventually.
Yeah, it is definitely not something that you say to somebody you like.
No.
But yeah, aside from all that, thank you for joining us all the way from the faraway land of Canada.
Canada, that's how we pronounce it up here. Yeah. Canada.
I've noticed that in my several times visiting there. Actually, 2 of my tattoos are Canadian.
Really?
Yeah, I have a couple Pokemon here on my right arm, which you can't see because no elbows. And they're from Toronto. And then I got the Normandy from Mass Effect 1 on my thigh and that one's from Montreal.
Oh, nice. I mean, you can't tell your Pokemon's Canadian, so you can't hear its accent, right?
No, I mean, I imagine it would, I don't even know what like Sandshrew or Sandslash would sound like in Canadian.
I don't know. Probably just say A at the end.
Yeah, Sandshrew, eh?
Yeah, there you go.
Sandshrew, eh? Sandslash. Sorry. No.
Sorry.
Yeah. For all the fun we kind of throw back and forth between our two countries, it is you guys are great neighbors.
Oh, thanks.
Uh,
You
y-
guys are
We've only
okay.
invaded you once.
I forget who won that.
Technically us. Well, no, honestly, it was a stalemate. Yeah, it was historically speaking, we like to teach that we won it.
Of course you
Um,
do.
but we also don't like to teach that we invaded Canada. Uh,
No, it
which
looks bad on your resume.
it really does. I didn't even realize that until I went to Montreal and I was looking at the coinage and I was like, why do you guys have War of 1812 coins? I was
You
like,
guys don't. You guys don't hear about that war,
no, we hear about the war, but we don't hear about the part involving Canada.
right? Everybody's
We
like, ugh, just
yeah,
don't mention that.
yeah, we hear about, the British burning down Washington D.C.
Right.
We hear about, the Star Spangled Banner being written in Baltimore Harbor, Maryland represent.
Nice.
And Andrew Jackson Johnson, whichever one it was, the one that became the crummier president, uh, fighting the Battle of New Orleans after the war was officially over. And yeah,
Right.
that's what we learned.
And then yeah, just keep everything else out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, everything that makes us look bad, it's like
Of
out.
course. Well, you wouldn't put that on your Tinder profile, so.
Well, I mean, unless you have like a self-deprecating sense of humor, like a certain robot I know.
Okay, well maybe you would then.
I also wouldn't do the Tinder profile. I think my wife would get rather cross.
Just once you explain that your Tinder profile is about the War of 1812, she's gonna say good luck anyway. So
Yeah, quite probably. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have on flights back to Maryland explained to people uh, about told them the story of Fort McHenry, which you generally fly over when coming into Baltimore,
right,
and how like that's where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner, which got turned into a weird song that we now all sing in front of sports games as a weird loyalty ritual.
right,
You
just to
know,
prove that you're still American.
yeah, that's exactly how it comes about.
Yeah.
Like I do remember. I don't remember what the Canadian anthem was prior to "Oh Canada," but I remember that transition and being like, "What's this song?"
Yeah. I think this song used to be like the sound of a beer bottle opening and, a campfire.
Oh, which made perfect sense at baseball games in Baltimore. Um,
See?
got a question here in chat for me from Mr. Magic 2K4. Do you or miss or they them? I don't know. But Magic 2K4 asks, do your airline flight colleagues appreciate your tales? If they don't, they're very polite about it.
They don't move seats.
Yeah, they don't. Well, it's Southwest, so they're not going anywhere.
No, that's fair. They're
Um,
jammed in.
yeah, pretty much. And that said, like, hey, yeah, Southwest, man, I appreciate that they are inexpensive. Uh,
It's
but
a solid,
that's
solid review.
yeah, that is it. I appreciate that they're inexpensive and they have free in-flight entertainment.
I mean, that's a good 50% of the enjoyment right there.
Yeah, I always find a new episode of like Chopped that I've never seen before. Like Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen, they're my go-to entertainment for Southwest flights.
Nice, nice. Everybody loves a little chopped.
Yeah, and Alton Brown on Cutthroat. Well, I mean,
I
honestly,
do like Alton Brown. Alton Brown's amazing.
you ever see the episode of Hot Ones he did? Are you aware of the show Hot Ones on YouTube?
No, he used to, no, I remember him from what was that show that he used to have? He had like a cooking science show.
Like Good Eats or something like
Good
that, I
Eats,
think.
Good
Yeah.
Eats. Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love him because he's such a sarcastic, smart guy.
Well, there's a YouTube channel, I believe it's called First We Feast, and they have this interview show called Hot Ones, where they sit down with various celebrities and whatnot, and they eat hot wings of increasing temperature.
Oh, that
And
sounds good.
oh yeah, it's great. And Alton Brown's episode is the absolute best because he's sitting there, and a dude apparently has a mouth of hardened steel,
Yeah.
uh, and just completely non-reactive to hot wings. But he's ranking the flavors of the sauces as he's going through. And it's
And just
just
like ghost pepper stuff, right? Like
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like the final sauce is somewhere in the several 100,000 to million Scoville unit ranking, and he's just like, yeah, this is hot, but it doesn't really taste like anything. It's just hot. I'd put this down here at the bottom. It's the worst tasting of all of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
As
think
manager,
it shows my age because I used to be able to eat a lot of hot foods, but now I'm just like I want to enjoy it. I don't want the billion Scoville burn.
yeah, no, I can fully understand you on that because we're actually very close if your IMDb listed age is to be believed. Uh,
It's all smoke and mirrors.
okay, well then, we're either really close or we're not, but I'm
Right.
going to assume that we are, and I understand completely. Every now and then, I really enjoy, like, sometimes you just want to have hot food,
Yeah.
for the experience of it, but like, I'm a good, like, like I would like to think that for an American, I can handle my spice pretty well.
For an
Um,
American. Right. Okay.
yeah, but like I'm, medium's pretty good for me.
Nice.
Like I
Okay.
still get that little bit of the burn, but I'm also getting the flavor of the sauce. So,
Yeah. It's reasonable.
ciao. I invited you on to talk acting, and here we are talking about other people's shows.
Chicken wings too.
Yeah, chicken wings too.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm a boneless kind of guy. Like
Ooh.
yeah, well, it's mostly because like I grew up on all the classic Disney movies and stuff, and when I was a kid, like seeing them eat the meat off the bone, it made it look like it was all easy and cool. And then
But the
like you
difficulty
actually,
level of
yeah,
actually doing it got too much for you, huh?
yeah. Well, I'm like a little kid, and like I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so great. I'm gonna eat this wing, and it's just gonna like just come right off, and it doesn't. And they don't tell you about like if you get like a bad wing, how it's got all like the connective tissue and all that stuff, and like if you don't get like really good wings, the skin's terrible, and
Nobody tells you these things.
no, they really should.
There should
Like
be a class in school.
like I mean, there probably was in like normal schools, but I went to like this really weird private school, and we didn't have like normal classes.
Yeah,
So,
in normal schools, like in public schools, we have chicken wing classes, but in private school, nope,
you
nope.
know, yeah, I got a comment here in chat. Spin-off show, Food and History with Thom. I'll do it.
I like it. I'd watch it.
Oh yeah, dude, I'd do the crap out of that. I
Oh,
love food and I love history, so
winning.
yeah. Boom, thumbs up. I can actually like somewhat gesture stuff now. I finally got that implemented last week. It was like a huge thing. I like my list of stuff to put on the show. I wrote it all out yesterday, and it's 14 primary items, and at least half of them have sub items.
So you've got a lot still going on.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know if I want to see a TV screen eat though. Look, we're not going to eat on the show, Chroma. We're just going to talk about food. That's how it's going to
But there
work.
should be some eating.
I mean, maybe I'll put videos of other people eating.
Yeah, but not gross eating because other
No,
people eating is gross.
it could be the meals and all that were famous in that part of history. Yeah, I'm pretty down for that too, Zoe. I will say though, like, so I've been in Milwaukee now for the last few years, and I was not expecting Milwaukee to be a great food city, and it
And
is.
is it
Oh
really?
my God, it is. Like, there's a really good German scene here, which makes a fair bit of sense.
Yep.
There's a couple really good Ethiopian joints too, and I was
Oh,
not expecting
wouldn't have
that.
seen that coming.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, Wisconsin is like about as white as America gets. It's all cheese and beer, so it's like, and there's this great German place downtown that does pig wings. So it's like little pork riblets with like a mustard hot sauce.
That sounds good.
Oh man, it's so good. Yeah, so it's like there's and another thing too is like apparently Milwaukee does like for lack of a better term, crazy pizza. So like, it's not like pizza with like, pepperoni, sausage, all that stuff, but like macaroni and cheese pizza. So it's like a
Oh,
pizza with like a
wow.
cheese sauce and then macaroni noodles and like cheese. And, one of my favorites is there's a place down by me that does Reuben pizza.
Like a Reuben
Yeah,
sandwich?
but it's
Come on.
pizza.
What?
Yeah, you basically put anything on pizza. Well, at least try it. If it's a food item.
Fair enough. Yeah, you don't
Put
want to
that
put
out
Lego
there.
on a pizza,
Oh, hell no, man. They feel bad enough on your foot. I can't imagine what the
right?
mouthfeel is
You
like.
want to, you don't want to step on that pizza either.
Yeah, no, not at all. Magic, am I referring to Mater's? No, but I'm referring to a restaurant that's on the same block as Mater's, Old German Beer Hall. They're great. Also, personal
Sounds right on the
opinion.
nose too.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's great. And personal opinion, best fish fry in the state.
See, you
Uh,
lose me on the fish. I don't eat anything from the water.
man, and that's cool. That's cool.
It, it's not like I like pray to Trident or Poseidon or whatever, but I just don't like fish.
And that's fair. That's fair. Don't go to
Thank you.
Cambodia because
That's all it is.
well, not it's not all it is, but their dish is a fish curry called amok, and it's delightful.
I see. I do love curry though. Oh,
And it would be, share it with somebody else. You don't like it, get the dish that doesn't have fish.
I like that plan. That's what I'm gonna do when I go to Cambodia.
Yeah, dude, and beautiful place too.
Yeah, I've never been. I'd like to go.
Yeah, beautiful place, really hot.
See, I don't like that.
Yeah, but you know what? It's worth it for like the cool history and like the awesome ancient cities and stuff.
Yeah, but see, just before this pandemic hit, I was shooting a show in Spain that got shut down, and it was it was basically winter there, and people were walking around in parkas and hats and whatever. I was in shorts and a t-shirt, and I was still sweating.
Oh, Spain winter.
Yes, Spain winter. They all like they were like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm Canadian." They're like, "Oh,
Man,
oh,
uh, as an East Coaster and like technically Southerner, I had no idea what winter was until I moved out to the Midwest, and I lived in Chicago for just about 7 years.
yeah."
And my first like winter there really kind of opened my eyes to what cold is. And since then, like I've embraced the cold. Like like as Batman embraced the darkness, I embraced the cold.
Ooh, good comparison. I like that.
Well, I've been watching a lot of clips of Dark Knight Rises, and so I have that Bane's all like, "You merely embrace the darkness. I never saw light till I was a man." You know, um,
Nice.
dude, he was so good in that movie.
You what?
But yeah, and so it's like, after Chicago, we moved down to Florida for a couple years, which I can't get back. And everybody, the moment it drops below like 70, people are breaking out like North Face coats and scarves, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, it's finally livable.
What is? Yeah, no, I don't get it, man. And summers here actually get super hot. I mean, they get hot in Chicago too. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, when it's hot and crappy here, if we didn't have air conditioning, I'd off myself. I had a good run.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that.
Yeah.
But well, now that I feel that we got a pretty good chance to actually get to know you,
Yeah.
I guess we should probably do what we're supposed to be doing. God, that middle finger just doesn't want to go down. I, so you are a bit of an actor.
I am a bit. Yes.
I will be honest, with the exception of a few things, a lot of your work seems to be heavily Canadian, which we don't usually get.
Right. Right.
And that's our loss. You guys produce some pretty good stuff up in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a melange, really, because I mean, for the longest time, I didn't work much in Toronto where I live. I was working like down south, like in your neck of the woods, not your neck of the woods, but
We've got a
and
big neck of woods.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I've bounced around a lot. So there are definitely some Canadian things on there, but there's a lot of stuff that's I mean, I've got a bunch of crap on Netflix right now and whatever. So there are some that are you're not gonna ever see because they'll just hang around in Canada and die. But yeah, bounced around.
Yeah, well, that's fair. One of the big ones that stood out to me was, of course, the House of the Dead. Um,
Yeah,
as a big fan of the games,
right.
uh, I didn't watch the movie
Good,
because I
good.
watched Alone in the Dark, or whatever it was, his previous video
Oh,
game, and also parts of Blood Rain. Uh, so, dude,
uh-huh.
what is it like working with Yui? I challenged journalists to a boxing match at Bowl.
Okay, so it's Uva.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's just that's how it's pronounced from him. Um, where do I approach this?
Well,
The
he's
thing
very
is,
likely never going to watch this, so as
yeah, no.
candidly as you want.
Well, I had the opportunity um, to work with him uh, on House of the Dead, and he had or a movie before that actually. It was actually based on the Columbine stuff. It was a pretty dark movie. Um, and then he asked me to come and do House of the Dead. And he, Uva is the kind of person you would expect to be who would challenge a journalist to a boxing match. So every kind of preconceived notion you have about someone who would do something like that is probably accurate.
Hmm.
So would you say he's a misogynist?
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah, probably.
Would you say that he's crass and rude? Probably. Um, and at the end of the day, he's not really about the art. In case once you see the movie, you would fully understand. Um, but he had a lot of energy. I think that was a compliment.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say that that probably is. Um, it
it was an experience.
yeah, I can I I can't even begin to imagine.
Well, and it's funny too because I did that movie, and I die really quickly in it. Not to give any spoilers, but it's that bad.
Wait, wait,
Um,
wait. People die in the House of the Dead?
I've said too much, haven't I? Um, it's true. I mean, I've already spoiled it. Yeah, but I worked actually with Erica Durance, who I don't know what genre of TV and movies you do watch, but I suspect if you
It's a pretty wide gamut.
okay, well, yeah. So Erica and I did that movie together, and then I ended up doing Smallville, playing Desaad in like the last season of Smallville, and so we worked together again there, and then we did like a movie of the week, one of those brilliantly, well written, amazing pieces of cinematic history together again over a period of like 10 years. So, and it seems to be this way now, like with House of the Dead being one of the earlier things that I had done. All the people that had been involved in that have we've sort of reconnected through other shows and we all sort of we look back at that as being one of those well the paycheck didn't bounce.
All right, or kind of like it can't be all bad. I made some friends along the way.
There you go.
But yeah, that's he he is an interesting filmmaker.
That's a very pleasant way of putting it.
Yeah, well, I never know who I'm gonna get on that couch, so I like to try and hedge my bets.
Right, no, solid move.
You know, uh, because like he seems like the kind of person who would make for an interesting guest. Uh,
I
Not that
I
I'm
mean,
reaching out, but
yeah, I don't I mean, I had many a lunches with him on set and I don't know. I mean, there's a big sea out there of other people you could probably
oh, there's dude. You might be the first actor I have on this show, but our mutual friend, acquaintance, internet person, Brian,
yes.
has been like pushing me to like get all these other people on the show too, and he's all like, "How do you not know who these people are?" And I'm like, Brian, I haven't been an actor for like 14 years, and even then it was college. I didn't do anything remotely comparing to professional, you know. Um so it's
Professional.
yeah, whatever. Dude, he gets paid to act. That's professional.
Absolutely.
Like I got like the closest I've ever come to professional is I did the Fringe Festival in 2006, and I got paid £10 for a month's work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
It was an equal share of the revenue from ticket sales.
Well, that's not good.
I mean, in fairness, it was a student production, so it wasn't like
Okay.
it wasn't like somebody like cast me and was all like, "Hey Tom, we'd love you to come out and do the show. We'll do this." It was we were a group of kids from college, and it was for the senior thesis production of the director. And I auditioned because I was like, "Hey, get a role, month in Scotland, get a little extra cash, maybe. This sounds like fun."
Yeah.
And I mean, it absolutely was. I've got a whole new respect for stage actors after that. Like, I mean, I had
Yeah.
like a very healthy respect for them beforehand, but then actually doing 6 performances a week for 4 weeks was just
Crazy.
like, yeah, that's nuts, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So much.
probably never again. But you know,
Never
uh,
say never.
no, never say never. But not without getting more adequately compensated again.
Yeah. Good call. Let me know next time, and I'll agent it for you.
Yeah, that sounds excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does sound really fun. So Smallville must have been pretty interesting. Like, because I mean, it's uh, ev people kind of like look at some of the CW or at the time WB dramas and
That's
kind
right.
of look at them and kind of laugh because like yeah, they're a little cheesy in a way,
Sure.
but like they own it. you
Absolutely.
know it's like kind of like the difference between Deep Blue Sea, which was cheesy but thought it was being serious,
Yeah.
and The Meg, which was cheesy and knew it was cheesy and was so much better for it.
When you embrace what you are,
Yeah,
people don't
exactly.
like it. Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know
mean, Smallville's. Listen, like the viewership on all of the CW shows clearly imply that people, their audience, like it. So, you know, who are we to say?
yeah, well, I mean, you know we all love to sit back and through the lens of history say that Shakespeare was this huge wonderful artist, and don't get me wrong, he's written some excellent plays that have stood the test of time. But everybody seems to forget that he wrote theater for the masses. He was writing the CW dramas of the
Of the day.
Elizabethan era.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it's just just because something is not considered like a highbrow piece of entertainment doesn't mean that it doesn't also have value.
Absolutely. I think, and that was literally the struggle when you had someone like Warhol coming in, and through the different shifts in art movements, the fact that some people would stand up and say that's not art was exactly what made it art.
Mm-hmm.
So you like what you like, and I think it's a good analogy, or I probably not the right word, but it's a good way to live. Other people like things, and if you don't like them, you don't have to watch them.
Yeah. Like I agree that Godzilla films are not high cinema, but damn if I don't love watching Godzilla movies.
Right?
There's just
Did you
the
watch the last one?
King of the Monsters or
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla.
Oh no, Shin Godzilla.
I haven't watched Shin Godzilla yet. I haven't been able to find it streaming anywhere. And every
Oh,
time I
okay.
have like a few spare bucks to buy something on iTunes, I'm always like, "Oh, hey, there's that horror movie that I missed that I really want to see, and it's $9."
I do that all the time too. I'm like, something gets so far left behind because I have something else on my list, and I miss a whole bunch of stuff.
That said, though, I do very much enjoy the legendary Godzilla movies, and I thought Skull Island was criminally underrated.
I don't know if I saw that one.
Kong is really good.
Is it
Yeah,
okay?
like because it's an actual movie that happens to have kaiju in it.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how Black Panther was a superhero movie that also just happened to be a great Shakespearean tale.
It's very true. Well played.
My yeah, I have a very active brain, and not enough time or not enough tasks to keep it busy. So I get a lot of time to sit down and think about stuff like this.
Well,
Uh,
you made the connection.
yeah, sometimes, it's just, I feel like I'm like Charlie Day in It's Always Sunny with that weird connection wall, except that instead of, looking like strung out and crazy, it's just, that's how I am on a normal day.
It's just your regular. That's just
Yeah.
how you roll.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Nice.
I guess that if I were like a DC hero or DC character, I would be like the Question. The guy who just doesn't think he's crazy. Everybody else thinks he does, but he just turns out to be right because he sees the connections nobody else does.
That's right. Speaking of, hey, have you seen The Boys?
Yes,
How good is that?
that's so good. I can't wait for season 2.
Oh my God. Yeah, so good.
Well, the ensemble cast is just like, dude, they have such great charisma together. Like they play so well together, which just makes it all just so nuts.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's, the chemistry, that's the word I'm looking for. And it's just, when you find that, you just gotta, it's so wonderful,
yeah.
you know.
No, I agree. And it's just so, I mean, it's so well done and irreverent and, you know, kind
It,
of dirty, but
dude, it's so brutal too,
right?
and I'm not, I'm an American who grew up playing video games, so very clearly, I am entirely desensitized to violence. Um, but there are some times where I'm just like, I
Wow.
don't know if they crossed the line or not, but I feel like even I'm at my limit.
Yeah. But I think that was it. Like they just rode that line with, and it's not like the whole show is just a gore fest, but sometimes you're like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very well put together, very well written. It's, if I were to ever work in like TV or cinema, that's the kind of thing I'd really want to be a part of. Something that's really trying to do something weird.
Yeah. Well, for me, that's definitely one of the shows that got away. Like I read for Homelander and um I loved it. Like I was
Dude,
like,
the guy they got for him was, he just nails it. Like
oh yeah.
he's got that psychopath mentality. Like I
Yeah.
look in his eyes and I'm like, I don't want to meet him.
It's so off. And wait till season 2. I read for a character, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Um and he got away from me too, but it's so messed up. Like you thought season 1 was messed, season 2 is bonkers.
Well, I think they have a live stream coming up in the next couple weeks that I presume they're going to show some of season
Some
2
teeth.
stuff,
Yeah, I think so.
which I can't wait. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. So speaking of like losing parts like that,
Yeah.
um, one, that's gotta suck, especially when you really hit it. But at the same time, it's like, for starting actors and whatnot, like, what would you say to them aside from just like, hey, there'll be another one, or, the old euphemisms that people so commonly throw out? Like, what is a piece of useful advice?
I mean, the useful advice that I've been given, actually from John Reese Davies, I know you like him.
Dude,
Um,
he's, God, I love that guy.
so I did a movie with him called Peter the Redemption. Um, and I can tell you, I mean, I've told other people this, not specifically, but he's by far the most enjoyable, the best actor I've ever worked with. Um, he's kind, he's giving, he's gracious. After every take we did, he'd come up and he'd go, "You were best. You were best." And he'd walk away. Just such a lovely, lovely man. I have pictures of him with banana peels on his ears and just just super chill, in spite of things that were totally a mess. But his advice, he was just sort of regaling a group of us, and he had said, you can't get the job if you don't show up. And I think one of the hardest things in this business, beyond family life and everything else, when you're working, is to try and not make the rejection about yourself, because you know I'm there are a group of select actors that I go and I audition up against quite frequently, And I find that, if one of us gets it, it was never right for the other guys. Um, and it's not about you. And generally, if you're confident in your ability and, you're getting good reactions or you're coming close, it means, your skill level's there. But that part, like, I'm never going to play a mobster. It's never going to happen. And that's okay. Um, and the parts that I get were right for me. And you do. It's the adage of you just have to keep going at it, is the truth.
You know, uh, one that's excellent advice. But the one thing when you were talking about John Rhys Davies is uh, I've always thought that he looks like a dude who gives an amazing handshake.
Well, I mean, he's big. He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's not a small guy. I mean, he even
No,
though you put him against in some of the roles he's been in, like on Sliders, he looks small next to like Jerry O'Connell because,
right.
like, I mean, he's basically Superman,
Yeah, yeah.
and he voices Superman sometimes. But but yeah, I mean, he's a big dude.
He's a big dude, but he's got such a warm and gentle presence. So it's not like, there's some big dudes that I've worked. I'll tell you, I did a movie called Gridlocked with Dominic Purcell. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah,
Um, he was on Prison.
yeah, yeah. No, I know Don Purcell. He was also in the craziest of the Blade movies. Uh oh. Uh oh. I appear to have lost my guest for a moment.
His presence is not, the
Oh,
warm,
Steve, we
comforting.
lost you
His
there
is just,
for we lost you for a second there when we were talking about
oh,
Don Purcell, and I was saying, yeah, he's the guy from the craziest of the Blade movies. Uh,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
but it also had Parker Posey, and like I am like in love with Parker Posey.
Oh really?
Yeah, also another Marylander. Um,
Oh, I didn't know that.
uh, you know, uh, as Maryland as a state, we don't get, in the words of the ever great Rodney Dangerfield, we can't get no respect. Um, and so, whenever we have somebody that comes from Maryland that does something really cool, we hold on to them.
Right. There's a lot of
Like
pride.
we
Yeah.
hold them up. So like Thomas Jane is from Maryland as well. So like I hear he can be a little weird to work with, but is still very cool. And so like love me some Tom Jane. Lewis Black,
Oh right.
yeah.
Okay.
And then when I found out Parker Posey was from Maryland, I was like, oh my god, it was meant to be. But
What do I
yeah,
tell your wife?
yeah, I mean, we both have. I mean, I'm sure that everybody who is in a long term committed relationship um, has an understanding that there are a few celebrities that people just love,
Right.
and they get
Okay.
it. It's not like, I mean, it's not like Parker Posey's going to call me up and say, "Hey, let's go get coffee."
Well, you
That
don't know.
I'm pretty positive that's not going to happen. Uh, I mean, I don't know that. You're absolutely correct. But, it's the same token. Like, I also don't know that I won't spontaneously get superpowers. The chance is still there, but it's highly unlikely.
I just think you should be optimistic.
Like, well, I have a feeling that if I did, in fact, meet her, that I would be able to sit down and have a cup of friendly coffee with her because, well, I try my best to be a
Oh,
fairly
I
charming
lost.
individual. Oh, darn, losing all over the place. Is the weather crazy yet? Nope, not yet. But I feel
Nope.
like I could talk, have a good cup of coffee, friendly cup of coffee with her if I were to meet her. But
At the very least, you could regale her with stories about the War of 1812.
she might even be able to school me on it. We don't know.
Ooh.
But at the very least, she's like also has had a great career too, working with a lot of excellent people, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but yeah. So Dom Purcell, big guy.
Yeah, but the exact opposite of the warm, gentle presence of John Rhys Davies, So you can be a giant like John, and you feel comforted and welcomed, or it could be the opposite, like someone else that we mentioned.
Yeah, Well, it's good to know. I guess he really kind of carries himself into his character on The Flash. And, well, no, now it's Legends of Tomorrow. So,
That's what it is. It was, yeah,
yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow.
But, I mean, he did start on The Flash. So,
So
we have Zell 2685. Tom Shane was great in Punisher, was a great Punisher in a subpar movie. Yup. That said, though, I have a very big soft spot for that Punisher movie, because it's not horrible.
no,
It's just not very good.
it just wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the right thing. Did you watch the series?
Uh, I watched a couple episodes, and I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah,
Like, it comes down to uh that I like the Punisher as like a supporting anti-hero.
right.
I don't like the Punisher being the main character.
As the A storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought him in the second season of Daredevil was like he made that season of Daredevil
Well, yeah, it enhances the A storyline rather than trying to make someone who's supposed to be kind of in the
horrible.
shadows. You know. Yeah.
Um yeah, and I feel that Tom Jane played a great Punisher in a movie that didn't get the Punisher, which is why the movie worked for me.
Okay. I like that.
Because because if you had just basically slapped a slightly different coat of paint on it, you have a perfect revenge story. You
Almost
know?
as if you hadn't have made him the Punisher if he was just some dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have like a slightly more credible death wish.
Yeah, like a sort of falling down kind of thing,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Minus the yeah, no, that's
Minus
actually
being
really
totally a loose cannon and just shooting up random individuals. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And we miss you, Joel Schumacher.
of course. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, I'll stand by it, but I like his Batman movies.
I did
Like,
too. I mean, they
yeah,
were enjoyable films. They just, I mean, in contrast to,
the
uh,
Burtons and the
yeah,
Nolans and
yeah. And I'm a fan of the newer ones myself. Like I like the Dark Knight Rises. Is that right? Am I saying it right? What
oh
what was Bale's first one?
yeah, the Nolan ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Batman Begins, Dark Knight
Batman
Rises.
Begins. Yeah, man, it's so good.
Yeah, that was such a especially like the second one debuted after I had moved to Chicago, and so it was really cool seeing these places that I was just becoming familiar with. I'm like, oh, I've been there.
I know that place.
I was at that train station. You
Yeah.
know, we got a comment from chat here. Magic says it's kind of like Luke Cage for me. It was more enjoyable watching Luke Cage and Jessica Jones versus his own show. I'm gonna disagree. I thought Luke Cage was the best Netflix Marvel show, but hey, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and you're not wrong. You just have a different opinion than me.
And it's just a little more wrong than yours.
According to me, yeah. um, but then again, too, it's like I wasn't a huge fan of Jessica Jones. Like it was a good show, don't
I
get me
couldn't get
wrong.
into it.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Um, but on top of working in cinema and also on TV and also streaming,
Yep.
you've also had a few video games to your credit too.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the show, I mentioned Far Cry 5,
Hmm.
which was a big fan favorite. But then you also did a voice for Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting story there. Um, because what I did was I did the full performance capture for Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was so the hundreds and hundreds of pages and all that stuff that we do. And a group of us, Kate Drummond, who you might know, she did Splinter Cell.
We are Twitter friends.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Kate and I and a couple other kids, we did the full performance capture for Wildlands, Ghost Recon, and they then took all of our performance capture and did booth voice with some other people. And I'm not sure why that ended up happening that way. And we knew it was going to happen when we did the full performance capture of the game. So it was very confusing why we had to do all the dialogue and everything in full record and full mocap suits and everything. But that's the way we did it. So in the end, I know I'd had a couple people get in touch with me. They were like, your voice in Wildlands sounds a bit different. And I was like, because it's not my voice. But yeah, we worked on that game for a long time. So when it all came down that was what they were going to do, we were a little disappointed, but it's what they chose to do.
God, it sounds like what they did in Halo 4 when they did all the performance capture for that. They had a guy stand in for Master Chief who did all of his lines and everything, knowing full well that Steve Downes was going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
That must have
Yeah.
been weird.
It's all good, but it's just, yeah, sometimes I don't fully understand all the decisions they make, but
well, at least you knew about it ahead of time as opposed to David Prowse with Vader.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, and it's funny too because I didn't know it happens like Sam Witwer does Maul because what's his name there who does the
what, Ray Park?
Ray Park. Yeah. He doesn't do his own voice in the movie. So
he sounds a bit less refined than Maul.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So that's Sam's voice. Yeah.
Yo, Sam owns that role.
Yeah. No, he's really good, right?
His work in Rebels was just so, like, he was great in Clone Wars, don't get me wrong, and especially the final season, but Rebels was where he really just took it.
Well, he's also a super fan, right? Like he's a super fan of the genre and the work and everything. So, good on him.
Dude, he's a guy that I would love to have over on that couch.
I'm sure he'd do it for you, man.
Well, I got to get him to respond to a tweet for me first, but
well, I can send him a message for you if you want.
Oh, should I do it, guys? Should I do it? I think I should do it. Audience, what do you think? I'm going to give you guys like a minute to come up with it, and then we'll come back to it. But I have a joke here that I wrote that I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
The chat says do it. So I guess I got to do it.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk after the show.
Sure.
But I just wanted to say that, I was also in a Ghost Recon credits.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess it didn't
cut out there for a second.
No, it didn't cut out. It was just a bad joke. No, I was in the credits for Future Soldier in the special thanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was my joke, was that I was also in a Ghost Recon's credits.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was a special thanks?
Yeah, special thanks. I was in on the beta for it, and a bunch of us were like super evangelizing the multiplayer, and one of the community developers really appreciated that we did that, so we put a bunch of us in the special thanks section of the credits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Technically, my name also is in front of it too, but I mean, we haven't had anything to do with the games in a long time, so.
Right. Okay.
And then they're all like, well, it's not your name. Yes. Oh, yeah. And
sure
Magic reminds me, I'm actually in The Division. There is a missing persons poster for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it appears a whole bunch of places through the original game. Because they invited a bunch of Division community people out to the studio in 2015, and they took our pictures and they asked us what we wanted our things to say and stuff like that. And
that's fun.
So like mine was the H is silent.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, it was pretty fun that way. And we didn't expect that to actually make release because they were all like, "Oh, we have no idea how long this is going to take," and they had it in the beta. And I was awesome. Like, okay.
Yeah, I knew that game was going to be, actually, again, with Kate and a couple other people, we did the E3, the teaser for it for the division. We did a bunch of PCAP for that, and then we did work on the game when it was in when we're doing it at Ubisoft Toronto. And that whole community, man, like the developers and the everybody that was working on it, that was such a tight group, good people, and a great game.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, but it's Destiny speaks more to me personally.
Okay.
Because like I really enjoy the like space fantasy of it.
Okay.
And it's just like Bungie just makes the best first person shooters.
Yeah. No doubt.
But and it's there are two wonderful games that exist in the same space and don't really box each other out, which is always nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
but I mean, like I still, go back and play the Division every now and then because sometimes you want something that's going to be a little slower, a little bit more purposefully driven.
Yeah.
Whereas like Destiny is fairly chaotic in its own way.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I just I bought a new gaming laptop, and so I went back to my Steam account and I was like, oh man, I got to put some of these games on. And I went and bought a bunch of ones that I've been sort of meaning to buy, but I was like, I want something like that I can kill some time with in quarantine. And so I've been getting into like some of the survival crafting games,
mm,
and let me tell you, they're super frustrating.
yeah, I've had a bunch of people have been trying to get me into Rust lately, and I've played a
No,
bit of
don't do
Rust.
it.
I mean,
No.
I think Rust is a great game
Yep.
that I don't want to play.
Exactly. That
Um,
it really, honestly, it's like putting a highlighter on what humanity is really like, and it's not good.
Yeah, like I fully get why people play it. It's like those in like battle royales,
Right.
like PUBG, Apex, Call of Duty. They're really cool games, and I'm really happy that I've played them and I've tried them.
Yeah.
But like, it's just it's not a game that I could play a lot.
No.
So and there's going to be something funny when in just a moment where it's that I really enjoy games that kind of put that big focus on story, which
Hmm.
is really funny as a person who really loves Destiny, which has one of the most obscured stories in
Yeah.
games. But that's also why I love it because
Right. Okay.
so much of it is open to the interpretation of the player. It has almost this very kind of novel quality to it, and novel is in like the book format,
Right.
where it is so much open to interpretation, where you get this sense of a narrator who isn't the most reliable.
Yeah. That's
And
fair.
it's
Okay.
part of why I love Westworld. It's the show
Oh,
that first
love it.
time it's the only show or movie or anything I've seen that manages to have an unreliable narrator in a way that works and makes sense.
It's true. I mean, it's true. But like, I know, like my wife, um, we watched the first season, loved it. She got lost on the second season. She just was done with it. Um, and now that I'm on my own watching the third season, um, I'm seeing what they were trying to go for, um, as sort of like looking back kind of thing. And now I wish she was watching it with me because I love the show. I love Westworld.
Yeah, my wife is also a really big fan of the show, and so it's like, and she's sticking with me through season 2. We haven't gotten to 3 yet. We just watched the episode in season 2 about the Ghost Nation host,
Oh,
which is
okay.
like the best episode.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
so good. Like, I
yeah.
mean, yeah, just
It's
uh,
wild.
I love
And
that show so much.
yeah, and season three is so different. So
Yeah, because it's they're out in the real world,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to seeing because I also find myself like Dolores makes complete sense being out there. And like Maeve to a lesser degree makes sense, but like I just want to like because they both have these very different paths towards their own self-actualization. So it's to me like that the how they're going to come back together and cross in the real world is just like I can't wait to see how that works out.
it's genius. Trust me, it's
Cool.
good.
I
You're gonna like
Dude, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about the show. So I like Destiny, but it isn't really friendly to new players because it doesn't do a good job of telling you where where to go to do the next part of the story. Played through Destiny 2, stopped playing, came back for some DLC hit, and was lost. Where to go next and what order? That is very fair. Zell, I will say that for the next expansion, Beyond Light, they are very likely to be fixing that. But also to my personal chagrin, because they're taking out a few destinations I really like. But I understand why they're doing it. I just think it sucks. Um, man, this has turned into like one of the most fun conversations I think I've had on the show.
Awesome. Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite episode of the show, to be honest.
Oh, wow. That's pretty great. Eventually, I'm going to have Elias Tufexis on. So maybe that episode might
Nice.
be really fun too.
I'll write in
Um,
some questions.
oh, hell yeah, man. Like, dude, I want to have him on because I want him to critique my performance capture performance.
Ah, of
Because,
course.
like, he is, like in a way, the face of performance capture in games and stuff, you know, because like everybody knows Adam Jensen,
Of course, right?
you know, and then too, like he's been killed on the Expanse like 8 billion times.
Yeah, I mean, I almost killed him in when we did alphas together. We did a TV show.
I am
Um,
aware of the alphas. I've watched a few episodes.
okay, so yeah, have you seen the one
No,
with
I didn't.
Elias and I fighting each other?
I didn't get that far, but that must have been fun because he's a fun guy.
He's a great guy. Actually, that's where I met him. And he and Eric had done Splinter Cell
Mm-hmm.
together, and with Kate.
Yep.
And
Which
so
is
I knew
where
of
I became friends with Kate.
right, like look at these worlds, how they all collide. But yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, he's in the let's see the much earlier version of this, which was an audio only show. We recorded or Elias was a guest. He was the second guest I ever had, and the show never
Oh,
actually saw the light of day. But I managed to track down the old file on an old computer, and he did this bit where he introduced the show and stuff, and then he was all like, "You can use that whenever," and I was like, "Does that still stand?" And
of course it does.
well, I'm just, I mean, he lives out in LA now. It's like big time, you know? Um, so I just wanted to make sure because, like, the last thing I need is like some overzealous agent going, "Hey, Elias, did you tell this guy who gets like on Twitch that he could use your voice? Are you getting
Elias
any
would be fine
residuals
with
from
I
that?"
I
Oh,
guarantee you he'd be fine with it.
um, he is. And spoiler alert for next week. There's going to be a fun new feature on the show.
Ooh,
Wink. Um I just got to get that sorted out. That's one of the small items on the list that does not have any sub items. So it's just going to be, that's going to be like
straight up scratch it off the list.
yeah, I think that's going to end up on Monday. I have Brandon Lee Cox, the cinematographer, who's coming on. He's going to be my first cinematographer on the show.
Nice.
So, yeah, man, it's going to be like, again, Brian, he's like the biggest evangelist for the show.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, me and him have been internet friends for almost a decade now. So it's like,
That's
you
too
know,
funny.
yeah, last time I was in Toronto, he even took me out to lunch. It was great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So not
Um,
just internet friends.
no, not just internet friends. And he came down to Chicago, and my wife and I took him and his girlfriend out to lunch too. So,
Sweet.
yeah, we had to introduce him to proper Chicago style pizza, which you can't get anywhere outside of Chicago except for a couple places in Florida, of all places.
Of all places, you've been there as well. Are we talking deep dish Chicago
Yes.
pizza?
Yep.
Got it. That's a
You know,
pie.
that is, man. It is literally a pizza pie,
Yeah.
or cake, as some people might call it.
Pizza cake.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Love the wink. Yeah. Uh, I I can't really emote on the face, so I gotta have some fun with it. Um, but I'm working on that too. Long list. I'll probably do like a special like vlog episode of the show where I like lay out the list and all this stuff. Um,
Nice.
but well, we have had just this ridiculously fun conversation, and I hate to say that the show is coming towards an end, but it kind of is. So that means that we are coming up on one of my personal favorite parts of the show. the 5 questions.
Ooh, okay.
So, yesterday on the show, I had a theme to my questions. Today, you are saved because your acting resume is very diverse.
Yes.
So, I was unable to come up with like a unifying theme for it. So, we're going back to traditional 5 questions, 5 questions that have pretty much nothing to do with anything we've talked about prior in the
Let's
show.
do it.
All right. Question number 1. You are offered a lead role in Star Wars, Star Trek, and Mass Effect, but they're all shooting at the same time. Which one do you pick?
So are we talking a live action or just
Yeah,
a
we're
video?
talking whatever. They're all roughly the same time length commitment. They're all at the same time, and they're all lead roles.
I mean, for a career perspective, I would choose Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm a fan of Mass Effect, so I mean that would be a hard one to say no to. Um, and we said Star Trek, right?
Yep.
Star Trek for me would be, man, like there's just I almost feel like if I were to try and take on Star Trek, I would have to be a bigger I'd have to be a bigger fan of the franchise because it would be sacrilegious for me to do it because there's so many people who know so much more about it and it's so deep and the canon is so ingrained, you know. So I think it would be unfair for me to take that job. So I would probably be leaning towards Star Wars or Mass Effect.
All right, that's fair. I must say, were I in the same situation, it would hands down be Mass Effect.
All right.
Because as much as I love the other two, and the do, uh,
Right.
like just Mass Effect has just captured my heart in a way that the other two just kind of just fell short on.
Okay.
Because like that's just Mass Effect is my space fantasy.
It's pretty cool. And you know, it's I find it so much different than the other two.
It is,
Yeah.
because it hits the levels. It touches on like the mysticism of Star Wars, and it also hits like that hard hitting kind of social commentary of Star Trek, but in a
It's true.
way that's more relevant to the modern day.
Yes. I 100% agree.
Zell 2685 says Mass Effect 2 is a perfect game, and you are so right. You were so absolutely right. That is if there is a perfect game in this universe, to me, it is Mass Effect 2.
All right.
Question number 2. What's the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, easy bubblegum.
Okay.
I'm four.
That's fine, man. It's fine. I got a nice thing of chocolate sitting in my freezer right now that's going to be saved for after dinner.
All
So,
right. My
um,
treat has ice cream and gum. So,
but I
you know,
like my gum to be minty.
oh, I like my gum just to be in my ice cream.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So, question number 3. Are my fingers actually doing the thing they're supposed to do? Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Question number 3. If you had to pick a profession other than actor, what
Hmm.
would you be?
Wow. I guess I would have to go. I have two young girls, and they're both in the process of getting braces. And the amount of cash it costs to pay an orthodontist, I think it'd be an orthodontist or a pediatric dentist. Because
Oh man,
holy
you'd just be
crap!
raking in that cash, man.
Oh man, who cares about enjoying your job?
Well, I mean, I imagine that like sadists enjoy their job if they're orthodontists and
I guess
pediatric
fair. Yeah.
dentists.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, that's mean towards orthodontists, but I don't
But it's
care.
a fact. It's kind of a
Yeah,
fact.
I mean, it's what was the Seinfeld joke? What did he fail out of med school?
That's right. The podiatrist or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Question number 4.
hmm,
This is the fun question.
okay.
Uh, what is the place that you would most want to visit?
Ooh, that I would most want to visit.
And we'll
I th-
we'll limit that to real world places.
right. Good call. It could get pretty. It could get out there.
Yeah, yeah.
A place that I would most like to visit. Um, I've never actually been. Um, I've never been to. I'd like to go to Turks and Caicos. Um, uh, I think that if I was gonna just randomly pick, I actually, truthfully, there's a castle in uh, Budapest that a bunch of my friends have shot films at, and the pictures are stunning. I'd love to go see that place. Um, yeah, probably that
Nice.
because I mean I like swimming. I like swimming. I love to swim, but I told you about the heat thing, and I'm
Yeah,
Canadian and stuff, and the idea of spending a week or something in a really hot place doesn't exactly appeal to me.
I can
So
understand that entirely. Yeah, nice. For me, Antarctica.
really,
Yeah, because you can't get there easily.
sure,
Two, it's like way more exclusive than anywhere else.
it sure
Yeah,
is. That's an exclusive club.
and at the same time, it's just like, it's about as alien a place as you can go on Earth. So why not check it out? And like a lot of people are all like penguins, penguins. I don't give a shit about penguins. Uh, like
I'm not. Yeah, I could take them or leave them. I don't know. They're
like
cool.
yeah, they're cool, but let's be honest here. One, they're not horribly unique because aquatic swimming birds go all the way back to the Cretaceous. So do something new,
Do
penguins.
something new, penguins. Come on,
Yeah.
up your game.
Yeah, I love when we have this simpatico going. This is great, but it's just, I mean, and they have a volcano, so
Okay.
yeah, Mount Erebus, I believe is the name of it. What's his name? The nihilist, Werner Herzog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His Netflix documentary about volcanoes went there, and it looked really cool.
I never
Um,
saw it. Was it good?
Yeah. Oh no, it's excellent. I mean, if so long as you like listening to Werner Herzog talk for a couple hours, you're gonna
He
enjoy
does.
it. I mean, yeah, he's got a great voice. Like his
Yeah,
role in Rick and Morty was amazing.
I love Rick and Morty.
Dude,
Me six.
I can't imagine how they reached out to him and said, Werner, we'd like you to do a monologue about penises.
I bet you he said yes and just hung up.
Yeah, he was just like, okay, I'll do it. You know,
Yes.
my name is Werner Herzog. I will do the monologue about the penis. You know,
But I want to.
yeah, he was. Oh man. Oh, before we get to question 5, Brian finally joined us in the chat, and he asks
Hey, Brian,
if you told the story about the time he saved you from a tree.
did I type at the times?
Yeah,
Save me
Brian says you were totes trapped.
toads trapped. When was this, Brian? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just making things up now. No.
What?
Oh, Herzog absolutely killed it in The Mandalorian, and he helped keep the child as a puppet.
I still
Yeah.
haven't seen The Mandalorian, so shush.
Oh, okay. But he's very good.
Yeah, I can't. I really want to see it, but yeah.
There's there's one episode, and it's not a spoiler, but it's a heist, and it's
Ooh,
my favorite episode of the entire show because I love heists. And
I like heists. Who doesn't
yeah,
like heists?
yeah, and I mean, they got like the crazy crew, they got like all the stuff. It's great, and like Clancy Brown is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Clancy Brown's in it.
Ah, I gotta see it.
Oh, Brian says the story's BS.
Oh, wait. So now I don't know. Wait, it's the story's BS or?
Yeah. Brian says his story about him saving you from a tree is all BS.
Oh, I mean, I would have gone with it if I knew we were riffing. I would have
Yeah,
made up a cool story about how you saved me from a tree that was gonna trap me forever.
yeah. He was blocking your fancy car, and he happened to be walking through the neighborhood with a chainsaw.
Yeah, and he was
You know,
thinking about murdering people, but instead he's like, "No, I'm gonna
you were late to set, and he was like, you know what? I'll do good today.
today I'm not gonna chainsaw murder people."
Yeah. See, we just came up with your story there, Brian. Next time.
Great, love it.
Yeah. All right, and I guess the last question I have, question number
Hmm.
5.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who's hiring robots at the moment?
Do I know?
Or more specifically, casting robots?
Yes, robots. Let me see. You know, I think yeah, they're looking for some new Daleks.
I can exterminate.
Then do it in the voice. Come on,
Exterminate.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'd hire you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hire me too, but unfortunately, I'm not paying. So, yo, I really enjoy the modern Doctor Who, but I haven't watched since Matt Smith was on the show. But it's it's no offense to the show, it's the fans kind of rub me the wrong way. Um, but like I started with Eccleston, so he's my doctor, and
Right.
like I
Yeah.
wish he did another season. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, but I think like with any show, certainly with Star Trek and Doctor Who, and when you have a passionate, loyal fan base who, they research everything and the passionate ones know it all. It's kind of hard to have a conversation when you're someone like me who doesn't know as much or has only read a script or two or something like that, and you accidentally offend people because they just know so much more about it than you
yeah. Well, that's them needing to chill.
do. Taking a little chill. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's, if you like a show, even if I don't necessarily know the original, however many doctors there were before Eccleston, that doesn't negate my enjoyment of the show any more than it
No,
negates theirs.
exactly. I'm
Um,
100% with you there.
Binge Too Hard from Tennant and Smith needed a break. Yeah, I can understand that. But I really thought of the three doctors that I've seen with Tennant, Smith, and Eccleston, I like Eccleston's my favorite, but I think that Smith was the best as an actor. Like
Right.
I think too that just came down to I feel he got really good scripts, and I
Well, and
think
I mean, it's sort of the double-edged sword in all of this because, you can be in a movie like House of the Dead,
or
and
the original GI Joe movie that Eccleston was in.
right. I mean, if you have great writing and um, even a decent director, usually you can put together something pretty awesome. But if at the get go you're already dealing with really bad writing, then you're never going to have anything really that great,
Yeah,
no
kind of
matter
like,
how good the actors
or Anthony Hopkins in Transformers.
are. Anthony Hopkins in Transformers.
Like that was I'm sure that his contract involved one, a serious paycheck, um,
Oh
and
yeah,
two, probably some portion of the gross revenue of the
oh yeah, he got
movie.
back in for sure.
Yeah, man, he made out like a bandit on that one for
Yeah,
probably only having to show up on set for 2 weeks.
if that.
Yeah, because yeah, he only was at that one location,
Oh yeah.
and he's one of those people who strikes me, if he doesn't really want to be in the movie, he probably has a body double for the non-close-ups.
Well, and I've heard he's actually pretty amiable and pretty cool, especially some of the older actors. They tend to just they don't enjoy necessarily, not all of them, and I'm not trying to blanket statement or anything, but they don't enjoy being around in the hours and the long days, so they want to get in and out, like unlike John, by the way. John, not that way at all. He'd spend the entire day on set, no problem, no questions asked. But yeah, I suspect that that was probably the case with Anthony too.
Yeah, but and dude, oh god, Anthony Hopkins just owns that role in Westworld.
Oh my god,
I was
yes, so
so
good.
happy when he came back in season two. I was just like, I was like, no, we need Anthony Hopkins. Oh no.
Wait till, I mean, season three, Ed Harris.
Oh god, he's so good in that show.
Dude, season three, it's like Ed Harris show.
Nice. I
Yeah,
am super down for that because I love me some Ed Harris.
yeah, this is some crazy Ed Harris.
Well, Steve, you have been an excellent guest. I apologize for my left hand disappearing.
I
Um,
I like looking for it.
I think the battery on it got uncharged, so I'll make sure to fix that for my next show. Uh,
All right.
so before we say goodbye, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me. I mean, I'm on Twitter at the Steve Byers, and same with Insta and all that crap. Um, but yeah, I've got some stuff coming out, so keep an eye out. Once everybody's out of these uncertain times.
All right, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
coming up to Ontario, and I'm just gonna just punch your door, and you're gonna know it was me, and you're gonna be like, oh, at
Oh,
least he,
yeah.
he did the social distancing correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, absolutely. It's been super fun. Again, thanks to Bad Idea Bry in chat, who
Yes,
has been
Brian.
like again one of the biggest evangelists of the show, and helping introduce me to wonderful people who are going to be on the show. Several of whom are going to be on in the next 10 days or so.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah. So again, thank you for coming on. For everybody in the audience, just a quick reminder that I'll be back on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with writer Sonia Alexander. And if any of you guys are big on game development or whatnot, don't forget that the second round of hashtag Pitch Your Game is on Tuesday, June 30th from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. Submit your game on Twitter using the hashtag Devil Works Hard, but Tom Works Harder. Dude, I work. It might look like I work pretty hard, but I probably don't work as hard as everybody thinks. Um, and yeah, I get a solid like 7 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Uh,
Nice. It's all smoke and mirrors.
yeah, pretty much, man. It's just you sound like you're working hard, and people think you're working hard. I am sweating profusely because it's also quite warm here in Milwaukee, and I've got a silly box on my face. Uh,
Right. That ought to
but
do it.
Yeah, but you know what, man? I do it because this is a lot of fun because I get to talk with some really cool people, and I get to talk, people who with experiences and uh, uh, in professions that like I can only begin to imagine. Um, and so it's like so far everybody's also been a pretty decent human being too, which at present is apparently very hard to find. Uh,
It's starting
uh,
to look that way.
Yeah, right. Steve wants to know, or no, sorry, Steve. Brian wants to know if he can borrow your hair for his next audition.
Yes.
Cool. He said it. It's on the record, guys.
Yeah.
Hold him to it. Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course, bud.
hey, Steph, you got here just as I was leaving. Zell, thanks for coming in. Again, I'll be back on Sunday. The best place to catch me is going to be on my Twitter, at Thom Clancy. That's where every week I put out a fun little promo, like the one I did this week, in which I said we would have Uva Bowl survivor Steve Byers on the show. I'm just figuring out what to do for next week's promo because it's like, how do I promo a cinematographer? Uh, is what it is. But other than that, as always, guys, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me because without you, this show wouldn't still be going on. Thank you to my mod team, which is Brian. And yeah, Michael Bay the shit out of his work. What? Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I'll Michael Bay this. I don't know if he's talking about you or me here, but like I'll find a way to
Is one of
Michael
us
Bay
getting
this.
blown up?
I can make explosions happen, not at this particular moment, but next show. You better believe I can make that happen. I'll like put a red button somewhere where people can't see it. And when I need something to blow up, I'll just be like, bam, and then just like,
Love it.
yeah, it'll happen. So guys, once again, thank you all so much for being here. You're wonderful. You're the best studio audience that a robot stuck in a garage could ever ask for. So until next time, I will see you all on the next. Why am I saying that? That's like kind of like in the thing. But so I'll see you all next time on That Thom Clancy Show.